Greetings and welcome to this edition of
Positronic Hypersonic.
I'm Barry P. Cook, and I'm here to give you an advanced pre-release review of Beetlejuice, aka Beetlejuice 2, which isn't even coming out for another couple of days here in the US. Like I always say, it's good to be a journalist with a growing YouTube channel. So, of course, this is a sequel to the original film Beetlejuice, which came out in the 80s. I forget what year. So it's been decades in the making, as it were, and they brought back a couple of key people from the original cast, namely Michael Keaton, Winona Ryder, and Catherine O'Hara. And they've added new cast members, Jenna Ortega and Monica Bellucci. So what's the premise of the film? Well, it's 36 years after the events of the original film, and the Dietz family is returning home to Winter River after the death of Charles Dietz, the husband of Catherine O'Hara's character, unexpectedly. Lydia, the Winona Ryder character, has her life turned upside down when her rebellious teenage daughter Astrid, played by the aforementioned Jenna Ortega, discovers the mysterious model of the town in the attic, and the portal to the afterlife is accidentally opened, releasing Beetlejuice. Now, that's a very basic premise of just one of the plots in the movie. There are several things going on in this film. Monica Bellucci plays the sort of reanimated, I guess, ghost of Beetlejuice's former wife, who is a succubus that survives by sucking souls out of people, and she did that to Beetlejuice, which is how he died. But I guess he jilted her somehow, and so she's out for revenge or to get him back. So that's happening. Meanwhile, Lydia and Astrid and the Catherine O'Hara character have to go back to the hometown where the haunted house is, the ghost house, to bury the Catherine O'Hara character's husband. And the backdrop of that is that Lydia is estranged from her daughter because her father also died, Lydia's husband, off screen. And Lydia spends so much time dealing with ghosts because she could see ghosts and she has a TV show that she sort of neglected her daughter growing up. And she can't see the one ghost her daughter wishes she could see, which is the ghost of her father. So there's tension there. So a lot of the story is about their relationship. And then there's a plot involving the Astrid character who meets a boy. And that turns out not to be what it appears to be. So there's a plot there. And there's a plot wherein Lydia's fiance is trying to get her to marry him on Halloween. And so there's a plot with that relationship. And then there's Beetlejuice, who's been trying to get back with Lydia or get to Lydia for 36 years. And there's a sort of plot with Willem Dafoe, who plays an actor who thinks he's a cop in the afterlife. So there's a lot going on in this movie. And a couple of those plots were interesting, I thought, and, stories worthy of telling, though it's not anything we haven't seen before. Winona Ryder is excellent. Jenna Ortega is excellent. But I didn't think the movie was excellent. There are way too many plots going on. And so none of them really got the full focus of the runtime. It's an hour and 45-minute movie. And it was like little vignettes occurring, broken up over the course of the film that were not really fully realized stories, it didn't seem to me. And they were very thin in terms of their, emotional content, I thought. And the worst thing about all this is that Michael Keaton is sort of like sidelined in the movie. He shows up here and there, and, he does the Beetlejuice thing, and he's good at it, of course. But it felt like he was peppered in and not really part of the story of the movie. It's called Beetlejuice, but it's not about him. He's sort of barely in it, where they had the framework that they could have had him take up the bulk of the story, but they didn't. They wanted to tell the story of Jenna Ortega, Astrid and Lydia, which I think they could have done both if they didn't have the other side plots going on. It's a very disappointing film, if you ask me. and I'm sad to say that. And it also seemed like the Beetlejuice character had his teeth removed. He comes off in this movie entirely non-threatening, almost entirely non-threatening. He's kind of like comic relief for the rest of the story. He's not like the catalyst of the crazy stuff that's going on, where he was in the first movie, if I remember correctly. I have to confess, I've only seen it once, decades ago. So I just felt like, I don't know, it's not a good movie. It's not a good Beetlejuice movie. It's just it's not there. It's not there. Again, the cast is great. I love me some Jenna Ortega, some Winona Ryder, and Michael Keaton, but it's just not there. There is something to be said for the effects in the movie, the special effects. They used some practical stuff like they did in the original, and so that was good to see. And a lot of the visuals from the original were present in the underworld scenes, so that was good. But I just found like this movie was a mishmash of uninteresting stories that in the end resolved too quickly as well. So it's just I don't know. It's just not a good movie. It's like it was like eating a meal with no flavor. It just wasn't very good. I didn't think there were three screenwriters, I believe, and a number of executive producers, one of whom was Brad Pitt, interestingly. But I just didn't think much of the movie, and that's unfortunate. But I'm very curious to see how it does when it officially opens in a couple of days, whether it's going to do well, if people are interested. I don't know. It just didn't work for me. I do want to tell a quick story. The original Beetlejuice film and I have a bit of a connection in that one of the cast members, who's now deceased, once came to a local fan convention and I was talking to him, and it turned out that he had to use the men's room and he asked me to sit and watch his table. So I got behind his little convention table that he was signing autographs at, and I sat there watching his table for a few minutes while he went to the men's room. So that's my Beetlejuice connection story. But yeah, that's it. I don't really have a lot to say. This is a very short review, and for people who are interested, I didn't want to give you a blow by blow of the plot on this one because there's just so little there that I think if you're going to see it, you should experience it for yourself rather than have me give it away, because to tell you anything that happened in any of these little plots is to tell you everything because they're so thin. So that's really it. Short review. I'm going to get out of here. I'll be back with another video soon. Until I return, I wish you peace and long life.